couple things we want to talk about, and that's tracking your success. Anytime you do any kind of online marketing, you want to be able to measure the success. With search engines, it's a little fuzzier because you don't have that I'm spending $500 for a week's worth of ad spend. I know these ads appeared here, here, and here. No, you need to do a little more behind the scenes work with your web analytics package. And this is going to be kind of a paradigm infographic for what we're talking about the rest of the day. But right now we're going to talk about reporting and analytics. And you just don't want people to come to your website. You want them to come to your website and turn into a lead, a conversion, a sale. You want them to take some action on your website. And that might just be reading 3 or 4 pages, but you want them to engage with your website. To understand how they're doing that, you need to set up a web analytics package. Web Trends, Google Analytics, Omniture, Site Catalyst, now called Adobe Marketing Cloud. You need to be able to get these set up and understand them. And you also need to look at how offsite factors are pushing things, what kind of market share you have, how people are going through your site, how long they're on your site, are they converting, and understand this as a unified whole. Now, there are a lot of different factors that drive a successful search engine campaign. This is something called the periodic table of SEO success, and it is from Search Engine Land. They update this annually, and you can kind of see, we're not going to hit every one of these, but we have content factors, code factors, architecture, offsite factors, trust, social, personal, and the higher up on the page, the more important it is, but it's one big web. There's no one factor that really stands out in and of itself. This is something definitely worth downloading and reading through. We're going to hit a lot of the elements on it, but as we go through, we want to think about, what do I want people to do on my site? Do I want a sale? Do I want a lead? Am I looking for just delivering information? Am I looking to gain brand awareness? It doesn't have to be one of the 4, it can be multiples, but you need to know what you want your website to do before you can start to optimize it for any sort of marketing. Search, PPC, social, content marketing, you need to have goals to your website. As you develop your website, remember, there's no such thing as a uni-channel that is completely divorced from the rest of reality. You will have searches driven by news events, by broadcast, by print. You'll have trade show visits driven by search campaigns. Every campaign is interconnected, and any marketer who tells you, I can deliver you traffic and it's going to be solely from this source, is selling you a bill of goods. Search exists within a larger universe. You need to remember that, and you need to normalize for it as you look at your online metrics. Now, as you're thinking about online metrics, think, I want to analyze this traffic, I just don't want to report on it. Anybody can report. You can set up reports, they're emailed, boom, you're done, you can go play some golf. But to analyze those reports and take action on that, that's where it's really going to pay off. The idea behind web analytics is to capture information and then make marketing decisions based on it, or site design decisions based on it. Without that kind of base understanding that how somebody interacts with my website is going to tell me a better way to communicate with them, the reporting in and of itself isn't particularly useful. Just to go through this part fairly quickly, there are a couple different solutions out there. The biggest is Google Analytics, and there's a free version which 90% of the people out there use, and a premium version which comes with some increased real-time analysis, some expanded goal sets, and most importantly, a client services team that will help you really make it hum for what you're looking for. In addition to Google Analytics, we have Web Trends, second tier player, but they kind of founded the space. Then we have Adobe Omniture's Site Catalyst. I believe they're calling it Marketing Cloud now. Those three are your big ones, and a lot of times you'll see people running 2 out of the 3. Personally, I'm a big fan of Google Analytics because A, it's free, B, it's free, and C, it is nearly as sophisticated as anything else out there on the market. And with some effort and some work, you can get exactly what you need out of it. Now, if you're running a massive e-commerce site and you're doing 30,000 transactions a day, that's where having something like a Site Catalyst can be really useful. But for 95% of the websites out there, Google Analytics is going to give you what you need. Now, why does Google create Google Analytics and offer it out there for free? It takes them money to develop and expand it. Well, it's because they want to sell more ads. And if people understand what's happening on their website because they've looked at the Google Analytics report, they're going to buy more ads. And that's it in a nutshell. Google doesn't do anything for the glory of it. They're a business, and Google Analytics is one more way to drive advertisers to spend more money on paid ads. We also have Core Metrics and Click Tracks. Core Metrics I mentioned because it comes as a default install for most IBM WebSphere packages. And Click Tracks is really useful for doing fraud detection for pay-per-click marketing. A little outside the scope of this, but worth mentioning. Okay, that's Web Analytics. There are also some other sources you can use in the future, or in addition to Google Analytics. Number one, Google and Bing both provide something called Webmaster Tools or the Webmaster Toolbox. And this is something you set up with Google and you prove to Google that, yes, I have publishing rights to this site. I can make changes to this website. And then Google goes, great, because you're a trustworthy person, we're going to give you all kinds of additional information. And it'll be things like how often your site's crawled, how many kilobytes, if there are any issues with it, as far as pages not found, server errors. This is an example from, honestly not remembering which client this is from, but you can see Google is showing us 79 errors, 1 page we couldn't find, 17 pages that have been destroyed, server connectivity is great, the robot.txt is there, DNS is there. They get fairly technical. They have all kinds of stats over here. You can also get information, and this is really one of the cool things about Webmaster Tools is you can get information on the top 1,000 daily searches for your website and the top 1,000 daily landing pages for your website that have come up. It doesn't give you a complete look at how people are searching for you, but it does allow you to see, okay, for this search term, we appeared 700 times, and we were in an average position of 2.6 or 18.5, and we have a click-through rate of 3%. And Google is supplying that to you. Now, it's a subset of your total search, and it's more of a yardstick as opposed to a hard and fast benchmark, but it does give you some really useful and good information. Webmaster Tools and Bing's Webmaster Toolbox also are the area where Google will communicate with you directly, or Bing will communicate with you directly. And they do this for a couple of things. They do it where if they see a technical problem with your site, they'll mention it. And this has been expanded out to say, they're now looking at, is your site mobile friendly? And they're giving you suggestions on pages that may not be mobile friendly and some ideas on how to improve them. Now, in addition to that, this is also where Google will say you've been a bad puppy and pull you out of the index for doing things that are against Google's rules. And this can be spammy content, this can be bait and switch, it could be bad, going out and buying really bad links from Russia and China, etc. But anytime Google thinks you've really gone off the reservation, Google will give you a warning within the Google Webmaster Tools and say, you've done something wrong. We're going to pull you out of the index in part or in whole until you fix it. And you also will go in through Webmaster Tools and address it and fix it. And we're going to hit that the second half of the day. But this is the way Google talks to you there. And that in and of itself is an incredibly valuable source of information. If you don't have a Webmaster Tools account set up and Google hits you with a manual penalty, you're in trouble because you have no idea why you were hit with it. You may not even know you were hit with it. You just all of a sudden see your sales and your customers disappearing off the face of the planet. Where if you get the notice in Webmaster Tools, they give you a little guidance and they say, these are the rules you violated, and here's an example of the violations. They won't give you the whole story, but they give you enough to start the repair process.